Hello and welcome to Thrive Within. I'm your host, Mark Bucksat, the life coach, educator, and someone who's passionate about helping you live your life more fully, honestly, and aligned with who you really are. This podcast is your space for real talk and focused coaching on things like confidence, purpose, boundaries, self-doubt, and personal growth. So whether you're on a walk, taking a break, or just giving your brain a moment to breathe, I am so glad you're here. Let's get into it. Today's conversation is about authenticity. Authenticity is the permission to fully be yourself, unmasked, unedited, unperformed. When you live authentically, your relationships deepen. Your energy stabilizes and your confidence grows. Life feels more congruent. You stop playing roles and start living as yourself. But let's be real. When you hide or perform, it drains you. It's like carrying around armor that gets heavier each day. Maybe you felt it. Smiling when you don't mean it, or saying yes when you wanted to say no. We do it because approval feels safe, because fitting in feels easier than standing out, because being accepted often feels more important than being honest. But at what cost? Resentment, burnout, disconnection from who you really are. Authenticity is scary sometimes, but it's also freeing. It's the courage to say, this is me, this is my truth, and this is what I stand for, even if not everyone approves. And that courage, the courage to be authentic, that'll change your life. So how do you know when you're not living authentically? Well, here are a few signs to look at. You say what people want to hear instead of what's true. You downplay your passions, your gifts, or your needs. Or maybe you feel like you're constantly wearing a mask. You're exhausted from keeping up appearances. You avoid conflict not because you're at peace, but because you're afraid to rock the boat. Now, these aren't failures, but they're signals. They're just little nudges saying, hey, you're living outside your truth. And here's something important. Everyone does this sometimes. It's part of being human. We adjust, we perform, we put on roles. And the danger is when it becomes the default. When you spend more time being who others want you to be rather than who you really are. The more often that happens, the further you drift from yourself. And the further you drift, the harder it is to come home. So notice these signals aren't about judgment. It's about awareness, because awareness is the first step back to authenticity. Here's today's mindset shift. Your authenticity matters more than approval. Think about that for a second. Approval is fleeting. It changes from person to person, moment to moment. You could please one group of people and still disappoint another. Approval isn't steady ground, but authenticity, that's lasting. That's the foundation of real confidence. And every time you show up honestly, even if it's imperfect, you build self-trust. And self-trust is what allows you to stop chasing validation and start living aligned. Now, I'm not saying that approval doesn't feel good. Of course it does. We're wired for connection. But here's the question. Are you willing to trade your truth for a temporary acceptance? Because when you choose approval over authenticity, you end up abandoning yourself. And when you abandon yourself, no amount of external applause is going to fill that gap. But when you choose authenticity, even if it costs someone's approval, you gain something far more valuable. Your integrity, your wholeness, and your alignment. Approval is going to come and go, but authenticity, that is the anchor that holds steady. Before I became a certified life coach, I was teaching film. I'd been in the industry for years. I'd worked as a gaffer, a cinematographer, worked in the camera department, and then passing the knowledge to my students. And at first, I thought teaching was just about transferring skills. Hey, light a scene, frame a shot, pull focus, things like that. But over time, I realized something very surprising. That moments that stayed with me weren't that the students nailed a move, or it was that when I saw them grow as people, as filmmakers. And that's what I fell in love with, was helping my students become better versions of themselves. You know, I had students who would come into class doubting themselves, wondering if they belonged in the industry. And in those moments, I wasn't just their teacher. Sometimes I felt like their dad, or sometimes their brother. And sometimes just someone wanted to say, hey, I see you, I believe in you, and you're capable of more than you think. And sometimes the questions that came in had nothing to do with filmmaking. They were just in a place that they were stuck, and they needed someone that they trusted. And I was very honored to be that person. But what struck me was how powerful those small, authentic moments were. Didn't need a posture or as an expert to have the answers. I just needed to be real, to listen, and to show up as myself. And you know what? Those moments often made the biggest difference. And looking back, I can see that that's why that was the seed for life coaching that was planted in me. Because authenticity, more than knowledge or expertise, is what creates trust. People don't need perfection. They just need presence. And that realization gave me a deeper purpose. Teaching film wasn't just about craft. It was about authenticity, about helping people step into who they really are. And that's why I still do it today. And that was the lesson. It carried me into my coaching session. Every classroom and every conversation since is felt the passion of wanting to help people become better versions of themselves. And that's why this podcast is here as well. So let's take a moment to practice authenticity, to bring us closer to home. I want you to take a deep breath with me. Hold your hand on your chest. Feel your breath moving in, hold, and out. Now ask yourself, where in my life am I editing myself? What truth have I been holding back? What small, safe step toward authenticity can I take today? It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be a dramatic gesture. Just sometimes authenticity looks like telling a friend you're tired instead of pretending you're fine. Or sometimes it's admitting that you don't want to go to an event. Or even if somebody else does. And sometimes it's simply saying, this is what I need right now. Authenticity isn't about oversharing or exposing every part of yourself. It's about alignment. It's about making sure that your outer life reflects your inner truth. So as you reflect on those questions, notice what comes up. No judgment, just awareness. Because awareness is always the first step. Here are a few questions I want you to carry with you today. Who am I when no one is watching? What part of me am I afraid to reveal? And where do I feel most safe to be myself? Take a moment to sit with those. You don't need to answer them right now, or you need to answer them, but you don't need to force the answer. You don't need to solve anything today. Just notice. Sometimes simply naming the places where you've been hiding is enough to loosen their grip. Because authenticity isn't a one-time decision, it's a practice. It's a daily returning. It's a quiet courage to show up just a little bit more honestly than you did yesterday. Here's a practice I want you to leave with today. 1, notice when you're hiding. Pay attention to the moments you soften your truth or put on a mask. Ask what fear is underneath. Are you afraid of rejection, conflict, disappointing somebody? Naming that fear makes it smaller. And share one piece of truth. It doesn't have to be everything, just one thing, spoken safely and honestly. Authenticity doesn't mean being unfiltered in every situation. It means living in alignment with your truth. It means that your outside life matches your inside values. And here's what happens. Every time you share even a small truth, you strengthen your courage muscle. You remind yourself, I can be real and still be okay. So here's your invitation for today. Share one honest truth with someone you trust. It can be simple, like, I'm tired, I need rest. I really enjoy this. Don't overthink it. Don't make it grand. Just practice saying something that's real. Because authenticity builds through small steps. And those steps add up to a life that feels whole, aligned, and true. Thanks for being here with me today. If this episode resonated with you, I would love for you to follow the show, share with a friend, or leave a kind review. It helps more people find these conversations. And if you're ready to go deeper, check out my books or learning about coaching with me at guidedpathcoaching.crd.co. You got this. I'm here for you, one step at a time. And remember, you're doing better than you think.